people who've been on home renovation or remake shows. How's the house holding up? My family was on a home renovation show when I was a kid. In the late 90s, early 2000s. I think it was Changing Rooms or possibly another show by the same cast and producers. It was one of those shows where they do 3 rooms in the house, and mine was one of the rooms they decorated. It looked so pretty. They decorated it to look like a fairy woodland with huge tree murals on the walls and a night sky of stars hanging from the ceiling. But it held up really badly. All the murals on the wall peeled off and it looked bad pretty quickly. I had fun shooting the show though, and it was a cool story to tell my friends at school. It's not a house, but a local place was on bar rescue a few years back. Overhauled the entire interior. I haven't seen the episode of the actual show, but the bar has softball fields at it. I went up and played softball during one of their test runs. They renamed the place Boulder Lodge. About 9 months later they went back to the old name but kept most of the interior designs and food/menu. It's still running and largely seems better than it was before the rescue. Friends were on a show a few years ago. It was super intense, 3 weeks of filming, and the redesign looked great on camera. In reality it was literally things stuck together with staples and tape. After the show my friend took 2 weeks off work to rebuild everything properly. In reality it was literally things stuck together with staples and tape. Phil Swift rises from the shadows. Should have used Flex Tay off. A faint voice in the distance echoes. Remember Extreme Makeover? A show where they build or hugely remake a home for a needy person/owner. They did one here in my town, won't say for privacy, and my brother. A builder was approached to help build a home. For free. In the dead of winter. He couldn't help but our friends. The neighbors to the home. Did volunteer. And they completed all in 1 week. In heavy rain. And cold. They built it. And now the home has any number of problems too. The owner went back on Extreme Makeover to fix everything. And was told, "You got this for free. Fix it yourself." Kind of similar, I stayed in a room that was made over on Hotel Hell. It was poorly done. The paint lines were terrible and some of it was on the ceiling. The decorations they used seemed like just really cheap stuff from TJ Maxx, not really hotel quality stuff. They didn't touch the out-of-date bathroom, but they didn't put that part on the show. The hotel also didn't keep the fancy linens in that room because I'm sure that was a pain to wash and keep track of one special set of linens. Basically it looked great on camera, but in person it did not look professionally done. Not really hotel quality stuff. Apparently I've been staying at the wrong hotels. The decorations at hotels have always seemed like the cheap TJ Maxx kind of quality, or terribly outdated and falling apart wherever I've stayed. Kind of in a similar vein. There was that show Gordon Ramsay does where he renovates hotels on Hotel Hell. One of the early episodes he was in Las Cruces, and I have relatives in nearby El Paso that kept me filled in since I'm a big Ramsay fan. It did not go over well for the owner following the episode. Said episode is on YouTube if you got a fun hour of time to kill. Anyways. In the episode the lady is running a unique stay hotel into the ground with mediocre food, nothing at all like local cuisine, and bad singing that she does in the dining area. I'm not gonna fault her for singing badly. But she should have realized this was driving away customers and taken Ramsay's advice. Ramsay stayed for a week, and this was a big deal in Las Cruces because celebrities usually aren't out in West Texas or New Mexico. His show also paid as compensation for filming a major renovation with new furniture, etc. After filming, Ramsay and company went off on their way. And I also gotta mention, this lady is disliked already in the city of Las Cruces. As for what happened after? A lot of things. The bar down the road did a watch party of the episode when it went live, and pulled all the works with an outdoor projector and a whole ass event out of it. Rather than heed advice, the lady decided to sell off the furniture and stuff that Ramsey provided and go back to old ways, which meant people stopped coming. Especially she was disliked even more after it was found out she did that. She eventually had to sell off the hotel entirely and skip town. As for the head chef/cook that Ramsey was talking food trucks with in the episode, I think the dude eventually started a taco truck of his own and is doing well last I heard. At least somebody gets a happy ending in all that. Oh. This is a great question. I used to watch Trading Spaces back in the day and recall people actually crying when they walked in and saw how bad it was. There was one designer who literally glued straw to the walls. I'd so love to hear from some of those folks. I was on Listed Sisters on HGTV about 3 years ago on season 2. It's been great. The quality of work held up and it is still pretty stylish. I moved so I Airbnb the house now and the HGTV aspect seems to sell it well. Nothing bad to say at all. HGTV chipped in for some repairs as well since my ceiling fell in during the reno. It always bugs me in those shows where the go-to manufactured drama is, well, we opened up the wall and there's faulty wiring / water damage / termite damage / asbestos and we didn't budget for that. So now you don't get a new master bathroom. And the homeowner responds in some "I can't believe they're trying to sabotage our home" fashion. Like no one who renovates homes for a living gets to their second renovation, let alone enough to get your own show, without learning to budget for unexpected structural or MEP issues. I work for one of the construction companies that was contracted to build the new house on Extreme Makeover Home Edition. This was like 10 years ago when the show was at the height of its popularity. Anyways, it was a huge nice house built for a widowed mother with several kids. Father had recently died. Hence why she was on the show. Even though the house was given to her, she couldn't afford it after a year or so. Property tax, electricity, water, upkeep, etc. And put it on the market. Simply owning a home of that size is very expensive and she couldn't afford it. Edit. The obvious follow-up question here, I get it all the time, is what are the legalities of selling that house? Especially that quickly? Does she get to keep the from the sale? My answer is, I have no idea. Another popular question: did your company have to donate anything to be on the show? Yes. But I have no idea what was donated. I have heard rumors that labor was donated and the show paid for the materials, but I have no real confirmation of this. My sister's master bedroom got a makeover on a Surprise Your Spouse show. The designer was going for an Arabian Nights romantic vibe, but it ended up pretty weird looking with all the closets hidden behind yards of draped fabric. They took it all down and painted the room a neutral color within months. They also took the ceiling fan out and replaced it with a giant tree branch wired up with twinkling lights. Not too long afterwards half the lights went out and it was too hot in the room without the fan. So that got put back as well. On the bright side, it didn't cost them anything and was a fun experience. And they got a couple of new furniture pieces out of it, but in the end they didn't keep any of it the same. Plumbing and remodeling company I work for did plumbing for an HGTV show about 10 years ago. We did the hookups for the new laundry room. The homeowners picked some fancy Moroccan tile for the floors at some upscale NYC boutique, and the host of the show decided it would look better without. Went about as well as you'd expect. Filming wrapped, and we were called back out a few weeks later to replace the fancy tile that immediately chipped and became dangerous with some boring tile. Had to sign NDAs, etc. I know a local house was featured on a show. It was sold and re-renovated for some reason. The next time it sold after that they still had the pre-renovation photos included in the listing. I'm guess they thought it would help with the price, like look, this house is famous. But just looked confusing. It's not for sale now, so no photos up.